Order up!
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Order Up Podcast. I'm Taryn Williams. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. So in this episode, I'm going to give a brief movie review for Justice Society of America World War II. It actually just came out. I think it just came out a few days ago at the time of me recording this video. Or recording this video. I'll be recording this podcast. This podcast will also be a video because I do post it on YouTube. But never mind that right now. So in Justice Society of America World War II, we get to see a version of the JSA in the World War II setting, which is kind of interesting because even when I watched the trailer, that looked dope. But then when I thought about it, I kind of know some of the original members of the Justice League. Like the only original member of the JSA from like the comics and stuff that's in the movie, or actually there's two original members. Jay Garrick's Flash and Our Man. Those are the two that I knew about because there's like what's this Stargirl and some other people. They're in the JSA. But this JSA is a little different. It's actually Jay Garrick's Flash, Our Man, Black Canary, Hawkman, and Wonder Woman. Which is kind of, and then Steve Trevor is there, of course. And that was kind of interesting because I was like, that's kind of interesting. But and the story's kind of interesting and also funny. If you look at the like the cover art for or like the posters and stuff, the cover art for the movie, Barry Allen Flash is in it. And when I noticed Barry Allen's Flash was in it, I should have realized he probably fucked some shit up. Because if you don't follow the Flash, that's what Barry does. He's always fucking up timelines and time loops and time variants, and Barry's always fucking shit up. And of course, this is what happens in this movie. So I'm gonna kind of run through the plot very briefly. Barry ends up helping Superman fight Brainiac. Barry runs so fast that he ends up running into the Speed Force, and he runs seemingly back in time. And one of the cooler characters to pop up is Dr. Fate. He tells him to keep running, run to my voice, and whatever. He leads him into a World War II era battle. He's in World War II. And so Barry has no idea what's going on. It's the height of World War II, America versus Nazis. And then America has the JSA. So, because they're kind of a black ops covert team, so people don't know that they exist. And so they're fighting against the Nazis. Barry Allen runs in. Wonder Woman doesn't know who he is. They don't know who he is. They think he could be a Nazi. They realize he's actually nice. He ends up helping Steve Trevor. Like Steve Trevor gets hit by an enemy plane, gets ready to crash, and Barry goes to help catch him. Actually, he goes to help catch him, and Jay Garrick goes with him, and they team up to use like their wind to do like they rotate their arms really really fast to create like a tornado and land him. And Barry realizes he's not as fast as he normally is, and Jay Garrick kind of realized that throughout the movie too. And so that kind of sets up, okay, Barry's in this, you think he's in the past, right? And you also get introduced to another member of the team called Shakespeare, who's a writer for like the newspaper at the time, writing the stories, getting the scoops, things like that. And so you get so you realize, okay, Barry doesn't have his speed. Gary doesn't really have his speed. Or they don't have their speed. They're not as fast. They have their speed, but they're not quite as fast. And of course, they're trying to stop Nazis. That's the whole goal. So they're going about. Shakespeare gets a scoop that hey, there's like some guy being held in like a Nazi castle. There's a fortress. We can bust him out. Get some intel. They do that. They're all fighting. They all get together. They actually call Barry Allen Flash Future Boy because he says, I'm the Flash. They're like, we already have one of those, so we're going to call you Future Boy. Or Black Canary calls him Future Boy, which is pretty funny. So they go through it. I actually really enjoyed the movie. The movie has really good action. The story is kind of hit and miss, just kind of based off like the action piece is really good. I like the animation. I like how it looks. The story is kind of weird because as we get to the castle, everybody kind of splits up. Then Jay Garrick starts talking about how he's not as fast as he normally is. And, things kind of happen. And then he ends up, they're all in the castle. They end up finding the captive who ends up being Dr. Fate. Who, they don't know they don't know who Dr. Fate is. Hawkman kind of recognizes him as a friend from previous life. He gets activated. He starts talking. He starts like saying they have like some, a code. He decodes it for him, gives them the location. It's the Bermuda Triangle. So they do all these things, and then he disappears. Like, okay, I guess we're going to the Bermuda Triangle. They get a ship, and then they start heading that way. They have a submarine. They're going in. They're in the water, and then they get attacked by a ship that's dropping barrels. Wonder Woman goes out, does her thing, starts destroying them. Then they get some help from some Atlantean soldiers. Like, oh shit. And you know, so then that happens, and then they, the soldiers bring them into like an outpost for Atlantis, and then you meet Aquaman. They don't call him Aquaman. Flash, Barry Allen actually says he calls him Aqua Man. He kind of like breaks it up. So, but they never call him that. He introduces himself as Arthur. He has like his advisor with him, whatever. And they're talking like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. This is happening. Like, we need your help. Nazis are going to take over the world. If they destroy up top, they're going to come down below and try to control everything. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll see. They get to a room. He traps them in this room with like a force field bubble. And Aquaman says, Heil Hitler, I lost my shit. I was like, oh my God. Aquaman's a fucking Nazi. And I guess I didn't say spoiler alert in the beginning, but I'll say spoiler alert now. But you should already know that. Spoiler will be in the title. And yeah, I was like, what? He's a Nazi? What was happening? And I'm like, that's crazy. But then come to find out that he's not really a Nazi. The advisor, he's playing like both sides, where he works for the Nazis, but not really. Like, I don't know. The advisor is kind of a weird like plot tool where he could like mind control people, and it was kind of weird. Like the advisor, because he controlled them, so the Nazis would win by thinking that he would try to take over the Nazis or something. I don't know. But yeah, but basically he was mind controlling Aquaman to do the Nazis bidding, and then since Aquaman controlled all the soldiers, so it gave the Nazis an extra force, underwater. And so they're trapped. Jay Garrick actually teaches Barry how to vibrate. One of the Flash's skills that he can vibrate between surfaces. So he teaches Barry how to do that. They kind of put their powers together. So Barry, vibrates through the floor, fights some people, comes back around, and lets them all out. And I forget when it is, but there's a point where oh no, that's what it is. So we go back to the castle. Because there's a part I wanted to mention that was a really big part in the story. So if you go back to the castle, there was like a hostage, and Shakespeare, that's his name, finds a hostage, and the guard shoots him, and the gun and the bullets bounce off of him, and the hostage is like, oh hey, this what's in this bag is for you. Someone told me to give this to you. This is for you, and you can barely see it, but you realize it's a Superman outfit, and you look at Shakespeare, you realize he's Clark Kent. He's this version of Superman. And so Barry sees him, and Barry's like, wait, because he said it earlier in the movie, he's like, I've seen you before. And come to find out, he's like, oh, you're Superman. And so Shakespeare, aka Clark Kent, he's like, what? Like, what? I don't know what that means. And then Barry, it starts to click to Barry, like, he's not in the past, he's in a different world. And he's in an alternate world. And so because Clark he kind of gives his backstory where his parents died and he was raised in an orphanage. So he has no idea about Krypton or anything like that. And so, but he knows he kind of realized he does have these powers, but he's just like, hey, I'm just a reporter. I'm just trying to take care of myself, get paid, take care of myself, and that's that. So it's a really cool moment of, okay, so at first you think maybe you're in the past, but you realize you're not in the past. You're in an alternate world, which also makes sense to why this Justice Society exists, because Wonder Woman wasn't in the Justice Society, not originally, not the original JSA, and neither was Hawkman. I don't think so. Well, Hawkman can be reincarnated, so Hawkman could have been, but no, Black Canary wasn't. So like, yeah, so it kind of made sense to why these people were in the JSA, because this is a different world. There's a completely different JSA. There's a completely different, there's a completely different makeup, just how things happen. So they realized that, and I think even Jay Garrick says we're on Earth 1. I think that's what he says. He actually says Earth 1, but Flash doesn't believes he's on a different Earth. And so, but they never really, and I think one of the frustrating parts about that, they don't really confirm that in the movie. It's just kind of like, we're on a different world. I guess so. We're on a different Earth. And that's that. That kind of sucked. That's kind of they never really drove that home. Where Our Man and Jay Garrick never really put their heads together and came up with this big old plot to show it. They just kind of mentioned it. That was kind of that, and it was done. It was like a brief 10-minute conversation, maybe, and that was that. So we fast forward towards the end of the movie, where now Atlantis is attacking the Earth. Aquaman unleashed this giant sea creature. I thought it was gonna be a kraken, but it was something worse than a kraken, like a dragon octopus hybrid thing. It was fucking disgusting. Like, it's massive. It's a big old kaiju. So he unleashes that because he's being possessed. So then the JSA have to fight that thing, save all the hostages, fight Nazis. Or really, they just have to fight. They don't even have to fight the Nazis yet, but they have to fight the Atlantis soldiers, or the Atlantean soldiers. And so they all do that. Everybody's doing their thing. And then they release this other stingray dinosaur thing that's in the air, flying around, messing things up. Hawkman actually gets killed. It actually kills Hawkman, and Black Canary goes completely apeshit. Like, she uses her canary cry, and she lets loose, and she just destroys. I've never seen her use her canary cry in that way. Like, I know it's powerful and it's strong, but she like let it loose, and it tore the skin off the bone of that creature. Like, it was insane. Like, it was a fatality, flawless victory. Black Canary wins. Like, she went completely apeshit, and she was kind of a cool character. She was like kind of tough, the tough one with a wall, where people can get to know her, where she likes you, but she won't really tell you. And she talked about how she was having trouble with love and all this stuff. They didn't really develop all the characters in the movie, but I'll probably talk to that when I get towards the end. Just kind of run through the plot. And so that happens. Hawkman's dead. Black Canary kills that, but she's exhausted. Our Man and Jay Garrick are going crazy, beating up soldiers. They do pretty well. And then the big old creature comes. I think Wonder Woman goes after it a little bit, but what happens is Wonder Woman Wonder Woman and Aquaman start fighting. And then she ends up hitting him and kind of knocking the possession loose. Or she breaks his trident, and then the energy that comes from breaking the trident pushes them both back. Aquaman hits a wall, kind of gets snapped out of it. He goes like, "Oh, what have I done?" He realizes he's at fault. So he ends up going back to like the big old creature. Like, Flash, the funny thing is Barry Allen has not joined the fight. He doesn't fight anybody in the last scene. And he's there. He's getting ready to fight. Okay, I guess I'm gonna take on the big thing. But Aquaman, or I think because he can speak to sea creatures. He talks to it. It grabs him, and it grabs him, takes him back to the ocean. All the soldiers leave. So everybody's okay, cool. But the visor of Aquaman, the evil visor, actually kills, or he stabs Steve Trevor with the trident, and ends up killing him. It's really sad. You kind of can see it coming, but yeah, it sucks, but it's what it is. So he kills Steve Trevor. I'm trying to think, does he die? I don't remember. I'm thinking about it. But he kills Steve Trevor. And so they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then you look up and you see like there's a bunch of bomber ships coming. Like a ton of Nazi bomber ships coming for the city. And everybody's like, oh shit, like what are we going to do? We can't take out all these ships. And just in the distance, you start seeing like one after the other become destroyed. And Flash and Barry Allen goes, oh, we don't have to. You look up, it's Superman, or their version of Superman, going through. He doesn't know how to fly. He can jump. He doesn't know how to fly yet. And he's going through, just tearing them up, hitting them with pipes, just destroying every single one. After he destroys the last one, he jumps down. He like introduces himself properly, and he's wearing the outfit. He's shaved. He looks more like Superman that we know. And yeah, so that's kind of the end of the movie. And the last part is Steve Trevor dies officially. And then one of the things was he proposed to Wonder Woman every single day until she says yes. She actually says yes. And he tries to put the ring on her, but he dies before he can. He drops it. Very sad. And so everybody's sad and upset. And then the Wonder Woman actually gives the ring to Barry as a parting gift. He's like, why I can't take this, but she says, you told me you understood why I couldn't say yes, and also when the movie starts, Barry and Iris are actually on a picnic. They're trying to go on vacation, but it's hard for Barry to be go on vacation because he's a superhero. Every time shit happens, he has to jump in. So he loves her, he cares about Iris, but he never like explicitly said like, oh yeah, this is my girlfriend or we're together. He always kind of kept it separate and kind of kept it secret. Iris didn't like that, so Wonder Woman's basically telling him like, hey, tell her that you love her. Here's a ring. Do what you have to do. So Jay Garrick helps the Flash run back to his world, and then he comes back from the backside of Superman. He slides into Superman and he catches the kryptonite bullet that was going for Superman in the beginning, throws at Brainiac, kills Brainiac right as the other Flash from earlier is going back to do this whole movie, which is kind of cool. I like that they actually put that in there, the seeing the Flash from earlier run into the alternate universe as our Flash comes back from that universe, and Superman's like, "Where were you? You were just in front, but now you're behind." And Flash, he's like, "Look, it's a long story." But Barry Allen gives Superman the idea of a Justice League. He's like, "Hey, what if superheroes like other people like us, what if we get together and team up and we can fight bigger threats?" And Superman was like, I like the idea. So we'll be some sort of club. And Barry's like, not really a club, which is the hint that they're going to do the Justice League, which this might be them rebooting their DC animated universe a little bit. I'm not sure. But then the last scene of the movie is back on the picnic. Barry is explaining to Iris what happened. And, just telling him, like, it felt like a week when he was there, but it was only like a few seconds in our time. And she's like, that's wild and all this stuff. And then Barry proposes to Iris, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I want to be with you. Proposes, they kiss, and that's the end of the episode. Or that's the end of the movie, which is pretty solid. It's a really solid movie. But also, Iris in this movie was giving me very strong Amber vibes from Invincible. Like, if you watch Invincible, some people in the Facebook group, we've been talking about how Amber is trash. It's the way, like, she handles it. And I won't spoil Invincible, but Amber's kind of trash. And Iris gives you very similar Amber vibes. So I won't spoil Invincible because that's a bigger plot point. So, but that's just a little nugget. So if you watch Invincible, you come back to this, you might understand what I'm saying. But the movie was fun. I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Like, I think it had really good action set pieces. I think all the voice actors did a pretty good job. I was really I just liked the action. Like the action, the animations were very fluid. Barry Allen Flash didn't do a whole lot, which I'm kind of okay with because it wasn't really his movie. Like he did help. He was more of a support role because technically since it wasn't his movie, he didn't do a whole lot. Everybody else got off, like Jerry Garrick and Hour Man, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was smashing everything. Black Canary had some decent parts. Hawkman didn't do too much, but he had some parts. Even Steve Trevor got a couple of kills. And of course, Superman or the Ultimate Superman, he did his part at the end. So yeah, it was like, so I'm kind of happy Barry didn't do a whole lot. He was more of the point of view character for the audience, where we got to see things from his eyes. But yeah, the pacing was a little weird. Just like kind of what I was saying earlier, how they mentioned the whole idea of being of an alternate world, on like another Earth, like alternate Earths, but they didn't touch on it ever again. No one knew who the hell Dr. Fate was. He was just kind of there. He was even in the chamber with his helmet next to him. But the only person who knew who he was Hawkman, but Hawkman never actually said Dr. Fate. You know what I'm saying? So he was like he was a piece because he's the person that led Barry to this alternate Earth. But other than that, no one really cared about him, which kind of sucks. Dr. Fate is an extremely powerful character in the DC universe. They kind of just used him as like a set piece, just kind of, oh yeah, Dr. Fate's there. So it wasn't a bad movie. I saw on like IMDb got like a 6.6, I think. Rotten Tomatoes got like a 78. You got like a 7 or 6 on Google. I think it's solid. I think it's fine. I give it like a 7. It's not bad. I think the action's really good. Some of the story parts are kind of weird, where just kind of how they did it. And I also like how they had a Wonder Woman, they had Superman, they had an Aquaman. They didn't have a Batman, which I was kind of curious about that. Like, you kind of skip, one of the main pieces to DC's Holy Trinity, DC's Holy Trinity, their Trinity, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. So I'm very curious to why there wasn't a Batman in it of some kind, or it's not even a hint. As just, just having a spy, maybe just having an American spy. Maybe he's just a spy, because since they already had Clark, who is a reporter, was, there, So I'm surprised there wasn't a little Batman reference. So the movie's okay. It's pretty solid. It's definitely fun. Definitely give it a watch. If like I always say, Warner Brothers needs to promote their animated movies more because they have some heat. They have so many good animated movies that a lot of times you might never hear of because they just don't talk about them. The only reason I hear about them because I follow IGN. IGN posts trailers for them pretty often. Usually, if I see them on IGN, I put them in like a watch list and I watch them when I can or whenever they come out. So yeah, this is my brief review, or actually not even brief, it's pretty long. So my review for Justice Society of America World War II. Definitely check it out if you're a big DC fan, if you're a JSA fan, or you just want an action animated movie to watch. It's about an hour and 25 minutes, I believe. It's not a long movie, definitely fun. There's some good plot points, good Easter eggs, fun. The plot can get a little weird, but it's a fun experience. Especially if you like those characters. Thank you for checking out this brand new episode of the Aura Podcast. I greatly appreciate it. I try to get the podcast to drop on Tuesdays, if not every Tuesday, maybe every other Tuesday, something like that. And of course, I will try to drop YouTube videos on Mondays. You can check out the YouTube channel, Slice and Dice and Game Entertainment. And then the website is sliceanddiceandgaming.com. You can find links to everything on the website, the podcast, the YouTube channel, the Twitch channel, merchandise, and my blogs. Always and forever, Slice and Dice and Gaming. Not just a motto, it's a lifestyle. See you next podcast. Later.